Hey guys, welcome to week 3. So far we've been we've been using black and white mainly to draw and paint with, moving from charcoal to Indian ink. And last week we started looking at our tones, which was our dark, our medium and our light. This week we're going to introduce colour, which does seem like quite a big jump, but it's a really fun, exciting jump. So I'm going to start today with a colour wheel. If any of you guys have done courses or classes with me before, you've probably done one. It's not the most exciting of weeks, but it's a really, really handy tool. And it's, for me, it took a while to really understand or get the hang of how the colours mix together to form other colours. So if you've done one before, don't hesitate, do another one. This is an example. There'll be a template that'll be sent out to you guys if you want to look off the computer or print that out and go over that. You can, because it just kind of makes a bit more sense like that. I've just mocked this one up. I've got another one here that was done by someone I worked with a while ago, which is done bigger and and to hit their own style as well. So mine, I'm really in the lines here, but you don't have to be. You just do it how you do it. But yeah, that's what we're going to work with today. I've already put a bit of blue on, the phthalo blue. Sometimes you do need a couple of layers, different colours. Some colours are really transparent and some are really opaque, which means some are more see-through and some aren't. The paints usually tell you that. This is a transparent colour, so you can see as we've put it on, it just kind of looks a bit different in places, So I'm going to do 2 coats just to bring that forward in my circle there. And that's our phthalo blue, straight out of one of our primary colours, straight out of the tube. Definitely important to wash our brushes. Another primary colour that we're going to be mixing is our yellow. This one's a semi-transparent colour, so I might put that down there. And we're leaving 3 spaces in between, 1, 2, 3. So there's my yellow. You can see that does go on a bit more thick than the phthalo blue, because yeah, it's just a different type of colour, pigment, works differently. Whoop, there's a bit of green in there. Oh yeah. Having two containers to mix for this week is probably going to make things a bit easier. And then we have our magenta, which is up here. So I'm going to put that there. So this is a cool red. You might hear, or when you go into the art store, people say that. So it's got more blue in it, which when we mix it through, actually makes a lot nicer purples. And usually that's called like a quinacridone magenta or a alizarin crimson are the names for those kinds of paints. The other red is more your kind of cadmium red or naphthol red, and that's more of a yellow red. But when you're doing your colour wheel and mixing, your cool red, which you can even see it, you'll get some photos of this to cross-check if your one's from home, that's going to give you the nicest mixing colours, this red. So I'll get a bit of that on my brush. And you don't have to go in the lines or anything. This is for you. This is just purely for your own reference when you're painting. So there's our 3 primary colours. So now what we're going to do, to kind of simplify it a little bit, I'm going to start here. So red and yellow make orange. So the first one I'm going to do, and this is going to take a little bit getting used to. It's yeah, it just does, because some colours are stronger than others. But if you put a little bit of your red on your plate and a bit more of your yellow, because red's stronger than yellow, and we mix that in, I don't know how well you can see that, but we're going to get a really nice orange. And then as I step closer to my red, so that orange is going to go right in the middle. Might need a tiny bit more yellow. Whoa, maybe not that much yellow. So that's our orange. So this will make more sense over time. So red plus yellow, orange. Now we're going to mix what's another orange, but this next orange is going to go here and it's going to have more yellow in it because it's closer to the yellow. So I'm going to make another little dollop of yellow. I'm going to bring some of that orange that I just mixed over to here and mix that through, and I'm going to paint that there. And hopefully through the camera you can see these subtle differences. You know, they're subtle, but the more you do this, the more you understand that, okay, if I add a bit of yellow, I'm going to make this light yellow orange. That actually looks quite different to this one. So we're going to make our next orange, which is this orange, which is closer to our red. So it's going to have more red in it. So I'm going to put a little bit of red in here. And again, I'm going to grab from that mid orange that I made and bring it over here. I probably possibly put too much red in. Clean your brush. Definitely clean your brush first with this. I can personally be a bit lazy with that stuff, but it's good not to for this. Yep, wash the brush. Okay, and now that's going to go there. So you can see, sorry, I'm probably pulling myself out of the frame there. The differences between those oranges that we've just made. So just those two colours. I mean, there's hundreds of colours that you could make between these two just by mixing a red and a yellow. You know, so now what I'm going to do is add a little bit of white into this. So I've got my white, and just where we've done those three, I'm going to add white, white, white. And this was our one in the middle, so I'll just check, bang, in the middle. You know, we have like a light kind of orangey apricot. And then our yellow one is here. And as I said, you don't have to draw this up like this. If you've got someone helping you mix these colours, you can just do a stroke to show, that colour. You definitely don't have to do it like this. And then this one, mixed with white, makes that colour. So when we add white to things, you can actually often notice that change a little bit more. I'll add a bit of white to my red, which is going to go in here. And once you've made one of these and got one, each week when you come to art class or you find time at home, it's a really nice thing if you're working on a painting and you're not sure what colour to use, or you want a different background. It's like you could start with a really light colour, but you can look at this as a reference and be like, oh, I really like this colour. How did I make that colour? Or I really like this. What did I do? Oh, I mixed my yellow with my red and added white. And it'll become a lot more familiar over time too. It does take a little bit colour mixing. And yellow. We've got there. So there's our oranges. I might just wash this palette out quickly and then I'll pick another side to do. Alrighty, so we've got our oranges done. Next I'm going to move on to the greens, which is our blue mixed with our yellow. So I'm going to put a bit of yellow on the end and a bit of blue. And I'll mix my like mid green. Blue's a stronger colour than yellow, so you use less of that. Add a little bit more. Yeah, nice. So we've got a really nice mid green there. And then I'm going to make a green that's got more yellow in it than blue, so I'll bring a little bit of that colour over. And add my yellow in. Oh, I love this green. I love yellow green. Look at that. Lovely. And I'm going to make another green that's got more blue in it. So I'll bring a bit of that across. Probably a little bit more blue there. Yeah, that's lovely. Oops. And that's a really darker kind of green that we've made there. So, wash the brush. So that first green we made, which is like more your mid-tone green, I'm going to go right in the middle. And then I'm going to move to the green that's got more yellow in it, which is quite a lighter green. And then I'm going to move to the green that's got more blue in it, which is this one. It's almost like a turquoise colour. And then the same that we did last time, I'm just going to add a little drop of white. To each one. So this was our yellow green. Our mid green. Our blue green, oops, and then just our straight blue. And they're all our greens. Last little bit is purples. So again, I'm just going to rinse my palette because it's easier. Won't be a moment. Alrighty, lucky last is purple. So we've got blue. I grabbed the red. Whatever. Gonna put the blue in, And we have our magenta. So I'm going to make my mid purple for this. These are kind of similar strength colours, so you can probably be a bit more even with them. Yeah, that's nice. Put a little bit more. That's probably too much. Yeah, that's a pretty nice purple. So we've got our mid purple, then I'm going to bring a bit over here, and I'll put a bit over there. And this purple's got more of the red in it, so I'll mix that in. And then this purple's got more of the blue in it. Put a little bit there. Okay, so I'll just put a tiny drop of that in. All right, so I'm going to start with our mid purple, which again is right in the middle of blue and red. You can see how dark our purples can get. And then we're going to do our more blue purple. And then our more red purple. Okay. Once they're dry, it's not a bad idea to go over and give it another coat if you want. Now for our whites. So a drop of white in each. Mix that through. Okay, so we've got our mid purple, white with white mixed in. And our purple with more red in it with white. And a more blue purple. So that's it. That's your colour wheel. Now that this is yours and it's, you know, you can bring this each week to your art class, you can always write on it to remind yourself. Like, you know, I've got yellow here, blue, magenta, circled, to remember that these are my primaries. You know, you can do a big circle around that they're those three main colours that we use for mixing. Our complementary colours sit opposite each other, so yellow and purple are colours that work really nice together. Green and reds are colours that work really nice together, and blue and orange. So, you know, like I've just done a little mark here, but you can draw a line through, you can write down here. Like, this is your tool now. You use it how you want to make it, you know, easy for your colour mixing. As I said, you can bring another layer on top if you want to, but this is something that I think you know, as artists, when we're learning, you should bring to most of your art classes. It means that when you go to the store, you don't have to buy a lot of paints. You can just buy 3 good quality paints in your primary colours to start with, and your white. When I've supported artists in the past, I found this a really, really good tool to bring out, you know, before an art session, because people could point and look, and you know, if you're not sure what colours you want to work with for certain pieces, this can be really nice just to like, okay, today what am I looking at, what do I like, you know, I really like that orangey, the light orange apricots, or you know, more greens, and it can just be a really good aid to have with you while you're painting. So that's the colour wheel. Good work, everyone. It's not an easy thing to do, and it can be quite frustrating getting used to all of that mixing, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just a guide. Okay, guys, we're just going to continue on with the colour mixing. So you should have all done your colour wheel now, and now we're going to mix the painted like greys, I guess. So I don't buy black I mean sometimes I do, but rarely from the art store. I just usually buy my 3 primaries, and sometimes I will buy a green or a purple or an orange just to add in, but I kind of mix what's called a painter's grey. So if you mix your complementary colours together, you get this grey. We're going to do this on here, so it'll become a bit easier. But so purple and yellow are complementary colours. They sit opposite each other on the colour wheel, which means that they work really nice together in paintings. Red and green are opposite complementary colours, and blue and orange are opposite complementary colours. They just look good together. So to make what we call this grey, which are really nice subtle colours to bring into paintings, they just kind of subdued and harmonise all the other colours together. I mean, sometimes it does work, but doing a painting, say, with all these quite intense colours, it can almost be quite full on, and sometimes it's those duller, muted colours that actually make our bright colours pop. They're kind of making a relationship to each other. Like with our tone, we had our light and our dark, and together they make each other talk. It's these kind of relationships of hue that works in colour, with colour. So we're going to start with one of my favourite combinations, which is purple and yellow. The dioxide purple is what it's called. It's just a good purple for making dark. It almost is like a black, like it's really, really dark. So what we're going to do, we're going to put that purple, that's probably way too much purple, in there. And if you need to check, do your colour wheel. I've got purple, what's its opposite? Yellow. So definitely use too much purple here. We'll put our yellow in and mix. And it creates a really, really dark, especially when you're using good quality paints, dark black like grey. I'm going to mix this out with some white. So white down here. Because when you mix it with the white, you really can see the tones. It's really warm. I'm going to put a tiny bit more yellow in. Okay, that looks pretty good. Just put a tiny smidgen more. Got some on my leg. There we go. And there's no perfect way of mixing this. Everyone's going to be a bit different. You know, you might have more purple than yellow, you might have more white. I'll wash my brush. And then up the top, we're going to use, this is just the purple and the yellow. And paint that on. I'm not doing the circles, this one, I'm going to go freestyle. And then with a bit of white. A little bit more white, and again down to our lightest light down the bottom. We can even put a little bit more white here, so this creates like a really warm, beautiful white tone as well, just extending. So that's the two colours, that's our purple and our yellow, made into the, mixed together to make a painter's grey, and then drop down to our white. The next one I'm going to do is red and green, and see what they look like together, because they're their complementary colours. This is often why when I personally am buying paint, I will sometimes throw in a purple or a green. This green makes different greens to what these greens are, and it just makes it a lot easy when you're mixing these greys together when you're painting. So we've got our green in the bottle here. I'm going to put that in. And our red. And let's see, mix those together. A bit more green. You can kind of tell when you're mixing it if there's too much of one colour. It's better. Okay. And then again, like the next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll do 4 whites. And it's so different, this grey, compared to the one we just did with the purple, the yellow. Ooh, I should wash my brush. Okay, so can go up there for our dark. And so this one, when it's mixed with its lightest light, has made a really cool, like a cool, like bluey light, white grey, you know, which again is really, really different to this one. So you start to see these really subtle colours, you know, you can just do a painting even just with that and it can look really beautiful. Add in a little bit of green or red and they just kind of start to talk to each other. So our last one that we're going to do is blue and orange. I haven't bought an orange, so we'll just go back to our colour wheel and we can mix our own orange by using red and yellow. So I'll bring these over. I'm just going to quickly rinse the palette. Okay guys, lucky last, we have our orange and blue. So we're going to mix our own orange with the red and the yellow. So I've got that here. Mix that in. That's a pretty nice orange. I'm starting to make a mess. Okay, so we've got our orange. And now we're going to mix in our blue. A little bit more. A bit more orange. Okay. Alrighty, so we've got our dark grey happening there. I'm going to spread that out. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then mix in our white. And this one's different again. Okay. So now for our darkest dark. They're really beautiful colours. They're a lot, I don't know, they've just got more richness than, you know, some of the like straight blacks, like a carbon or a Mars black or something. And our last light, put a little bit more white in that one. There you go. So there's our 3 greys that we've managed to make from our primary complementary colour, you know, from our complementary colours. So again, this is another nice tool to bring in each week, and further down over the next 8 weeks we'll be bringing some of this into how to create an artwork, and you'll learn to see how, you know, some of these colours really work really beautifully and nicely together. You can see here, you know, like you can pick up even those greens with this. We've really already got a really beautiful, interesting palette happening. So there's a lot of colour mixing to come. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If not, you just got to push through and keep doing it, because it really, really benefits you as an artist in the end. Thank you so much, guys, for your patience. I know this week can be really quite trying. It's not easy, but yeah, even just having that there and taking your time to do it is great. So thank you. I will see you next week for lots more fun. Look forward to it. Thanks, guys. Materials for week 4. Okay, week 4 we're going to use what we learned last week about mixing our colours and put them into action. So I want you to bring along your trusty colour wheel and your beautiful grey tones that you've mixed. I want two sheets of heavyweight cartridge, and they need to be gessoed. I'm going to do a demo on that later, and that will be linked in for you to see. But that's just that thick white paint that makes all of our colours more vibrant, and also creates a bit more guts to the paper, so it's not going to warp as much. Rags, containers, all your paints. Your 3 primaries are really important for this one. Your white, and if you've got them, your purple and green. All your brushes, including your big one. You might want like a tin or something bigger. If you've just got a small palette like me, we might need something a bit like an old tin plate to mix our colours on. Spray bottle. I've used the masking tape just to make an edge and put this around. If you are doing that, do the, gosh, it's hard to get off. Do get some of the tack off on your clothes first, because it will tear you, but you just have to be gentle. It can sometimes tear the paper. Yeah, that's everything. Oh, sorry, if you are wanting to draw from life, I want you to find something lovely to draw, and if you can, I really want this lit as well. We're again working with those light sources and how that shifts. It just makes things kind of look more beautiful too. And if you're an abstract, then you don't have to worry about that. Just bring yourself, and look forward to seeing you guys then.